Hey, what is going on, guys? It's EK back at you with another video here. It's predicting the 9-game NBA main slate on Friday. A couple things before I get into the video. If you're new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos talking about NBA, NFL, and XFL daily fantasy sports. I'm also running a weekly $20 PayPal giveaway on my channel. How it works, all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry in the giveaway. Max one comment per video. So it actually started with my video that I uploaded yesterday. We'll go throughout the week, and not this Monday, but the next Monday, I will announce the winner to the $20 PayPal giveaway because we had no NBA video this previous Monday. So however many videos I've uploaded for this prolonged week, about 10 or 11 days, however many videos I've uploaded for that period of time, you can end the giveaway that many times. If I have 10 videos uploaded for this extended week, you can end the giveaway 10 times. And again, the winner receives $20 PayPal from myself. With that out of the way, let's jump in the video. First, let's look back at my lineup here from Thursday night. And man, it is so good to be back for NBA. Had a huge night tonight. So let's go over my lineup. You guys knew, if you watched the live stream, I was really heavy on the Brooklyn-Philadelphia game. Ended up stacking it. So went Dinwiddie, Josh Richardson, Karis LeVert, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. Ran it back with Bam Adebayo. 70 fancy points at under 8K. Only 33% owned. He was huge. Covington was the guy I got on kind of late. And then Arcidiacono was definitely a bit disappointing. It was either him or Shaq Harrison for me. I originally had Shaq Harrison in. Once Ryan Arcidiacono got started, or was announced starting, I actually swapped it because the Bulls starters have been getting good run. Like whoever does end up starting, they get a decent amount of run. They get like 25, 30-ish minutes. Whereas the bench guys will get limited a bit. And that's what we saw. Arcidiacono got like 26, 27 minutes. Shaq Harrison only got 18. Now, Shaq Harrison was much better. And if Shaq Harrison would have started, I would have definitely went there. Arcidiacono, not as good of a point-per-minute guy, but I assumed he's going to play more minutes. He just played terrible. Shot the ball like 0 of 6. He did not shoot the ball well. So kicking myself there, because if I had Shaq Harrison instead of Arcidiacono, could have been on GPP takedown season. I think the first place right now is 348. You think I add another 10 there for Shaq, I would have been at, where am I at here? The 330 with Covington left. Never know, right? So I don't think I'm going to win this tournament for sure. But if Covington finishes with a solid game, I think I could definitely make some good money. Currently making $300 off of $40 right now. And then my core plays were Joel Embiid was super high on him. Josh Richardson, Spencer Dinwiddie, and then had Shaq Harrison in there. But again, I still was okay with him, but I made a tweet about it. I was like, I'm not as high on Shaq Harrison now just because of the minutes. So yeah, hope you guys all had a great night. Really, really good night for me, and let's see if we can keep it going for the slate on Friday. And one more thing I thought I would bring up. It's very important to check out the live streams, guys, because things change all the time. Like things change at a second, right? Because a guy like Christian Wood was someone I was really high on all day, and then the Pistons starting lineup for some reason did not have Christian Wood in there, so I got off of him. And if you guys didn't watch my live stream, you probably thought, "Oh, I'm still on Christian Wood," right? So because he was still somewhat high owned, I completely got off Wood once he got announced not starting, just because I knew the Mets were not going to be there. So very, very important to watch the video as well as check out the live stream. I'll be live streaming 45 minutes before lock on my YouTube channel. But all right, let's talk about Friday's slate. We got a nice 9-game slate. We have some injuries to go over, so let's do it. Let me get to the right slate here. But before we get into players and their prices, let's take a look at some over-unders and spreads. So the Cavs-Wizards game, we're still waiting on that one. We have the Mavs Magic 220.5. The Mavs are 3.5-point favorites. Pacers-Knicks is 211.5. The Pacers are 5.5-point favorites. We have the Suns and the Raptors sitting at 228.5. The Raptors are 7.5-point favorites. Celtics-Timberwolves 229. The Celtics are 6.5-point favorites. Nuggets and the Thunder 215. The Thunder are actually 1-point favorites. Spurs-Jazz 221.5. The Jazz are 7-point favorites. And then the two late night hammers here are Memphis and LA 232.5. The Lakers are 11-point favorites, and the Pelicans Trailblazers 235.5, with the Pelicans favored by 4. So let's just jump right into it. As always, we'll start with center. And one of the big injuries is obviously Karl-Anthony Towns. He's going to be out for a bit here, seeking a second opinion there on that wrist injury. So no Cat is pretty significant news. Big boost, obviously, D'Angelo Russell is going to have to do a lot more offensively. Those other secondary pieces, too, like Beasley, Hernan Gomez, James Johnson, Naz Reid. So last time when Cat was out, they kind of split the sentiments with Naz Reid, James Johnson. Hernan Gomez saw a lot of minutes. So there definitely is some value here we'll talk about in Minnesota with no Karl-Anthony Towns. Anthony Davis at 9.9. My issue with this game is Memphis is playing tonight. It's a back-to-back, and this game's at LA. So do they have a... This is, 11-point spread. So there is definitely some blowout risk here. That's my concern right now. So if you're confident that Memphis can keep it close, then for sure you can go to Anthony Davis at under 10K. I'm just a little bit worried with the blowout right now. So, that's a concern there. Jokic at 9.8. He's been playing huge minutes, even with, Denver getting more healthy. Paul Millsap's been healthy. They're getting Michael Porter Jr. back. I don't necessarily think the minutes are going to go down for him. Maybe like a couple minutes, right? Maybe it goes down like 35 or so minutes. He still has upside. He's priced under 10K. Perfectly fine if Jokic is a spend up. Let's see, Sabonis, 9.6. I think still has some upside here. More of a contrarian option, though. It is a good matchup. He's just, it makes it a little bit tricky for me to be really confident playing Sabonis at this price. Now, of course, he can still get you there. We've seen him, right? 58 fancy points. He's a guy that can get you 50 plus, even 60 on a good night. It's just, I think I prefer some other spend-ups on this slate. So, fine with Sabonis, but more contrarian option for me. Whiteside is a guy that I like a good amount at 9.2. One of my favorite plays here. That last game against the Pelicans, on February 11th, so a little over a week ago, I was super excited because I had a game stack in that one, and it blew out. The starters did not get any fourth quarter run. So Whiteside had 41 and a half in 3 quarters. He was on pace to crush. This is just a spot where I want a lot of exposure to this game. This is definitely my favorite game to target. 235 and a half over under, 4-point spread. So this one should stay close. There's also no Damian Lillard. Now, it doesn't really affect Whiteside too much, honestly. Whiteside's not a guy they're going to throw the ball into the post and then he's going to score a lot. But he's a guy that gets those offense rebounds, putbacks, the blocks. This game's going to be played at a really fast pace. He was crushing in that last matchup. It just didn't see any fourth quarter run because of a blowout. So I like Whiteside a good amount as a spend up. Drummond, I have no idea what Cleveland's going to do with this rotation. I really have no idea. With Drummond, so he started last game, only played 22 minutes. They gave Tristan Thompson more run. They have Kevin Love. They have Larry Nance. It's a good matchup, but like I said, I have no idea. I don't think I want to mess with this rotation until we see more consistent minutes from some of these guys. Like until we see Drummond playing minutes into the 30s consistently, I don't know if I can go there right now because Cleveland showed that, if Tristan Thompson is playing well, they're going to give him minutes. Now, sure, John Beilein no longer the coach. Maybe the interim coach is going to do stuff differently. Who knows? But on this 9-game slate, I just don't think I want to do it. I don't think I want to take a shot there. DeAndre Ayton, this is something we definitely have to monitor here. Monty Williams hopes he's going to be available. If he's not available to go, then obviously Cheek Diallo's value play. Devin Booker would get a huge boost. Kelly Oubre would get a huge boost. If DeAndre Ayton plays, I think he is viable. I think he would be a lower-owned contrarian option on the slate, but he would still be in play. So we've got to keep an eye on his status. Vucevic at 8.8 definitely has upside here. He's at over 50 fantasy points in the last 3 games. I'm not really scared of Dallas bigs, whether they try to throw on Kristaps Porzingis or whoever they've tried to throw on him. Not super concerned about it. So Vucevic at this price point, I think, is definitely in play. I think he goes a little bit overlooked. But I have some interest there for sure. Pascal Siakam at 8.4. I think he has a pretty solid play. Really good matchup against Phoenix. Again, we have a, where is Toronto and Phoenix? 228.5 over-under. So one of the higher over-unders of the day. 7.5-point spread though, so a little bit of blowout risk, especially if DeAndre Ayton misses. That I think would increase the blowout chance a bit. I think he is a solid play. I think I prefer the guards though on Toronto for a little bit less. We'll talk about it later. Gobert at 8.2. I just think I like other centers a little bit more. Julius Randle at 8.1. Kind of the same thing. I'm fine if you get to him, but don't know if I'm going to prioritize him. Now Zion at 8K. The price is coming up, but his level of production has been coming up. 50 and 41 the last couple of games. The minutes right 28-31. This game's going to be played at a super fast pace. I want a lot of exposure to this game. There's going to be very little defense played. So I am perfectly fine getting to Zion. Also like a lot of the other Pelicans guys we'll talk about. Guys like Ingram, Drew Holiday, Lonzo Ball. I like a lot in the on the Portland side with no Lillard, especially CJ. CJ is my favorite play of the night easily, but some of those other Portland guys we'll talk about in a bit as well. Kristaps with Luka playing at 8K. Just don't think we have to do it. Now, he did have a good game last game in Sacramento, but I like targeting him more when Luka's out. Aldridge will pass there against Utah. JV will pass against the Lakers. Serge Ibaka is a guy I like a good amount at 6.5K. Again, this game's been played at super fast pace, especially if Ayton plays. I would like Ibaka even more because if Ayton misses, maybe Toronto could go small ball Siakam, right? Because Phoenix is also very, very small. But if Ayton plays, they're going to need Ibaka out there because no Marc Gasol. I don't think they're going to want to give Boucher huge minutes here. So I like Ibaka a good amount. One of my favorite plays here. His price hasn't moved. So yeah, I like him a good amount, especially if Ayton is not or if Ayton does play, because I think that would force Ibaka to play big minutes. Again, the Cleveland situation, I just have no idea what they're going to do with the bigs and their minutes. Steven Adams is always a safe option at this price. Probably going to play somewhere around 30 minutes. He's probably going to get you 25, 35 fancy points. If you want a safe play, Denver runs big. I think Steven Adams is perfectly fine there. Rui, Mo Wagner, don't know if I get to them with the possibility of Thomas Bryant coming back. Diallo, again, this would only be if Ayton can't go, but he was pretty limited the last game. Only played 22 minutes, so that is concerning. Favors at 4.9 is viable. Only saw 21 minutes. I guess that was a blowout too, so maybe he was probably on pace for 24, 25. I think he's fine at this price. His upside is kind of capped though when Zion is in the lineup. Other options here like Tice and Cantor are definitely doable. Tice at 4.7. We probably get around 25 minutes or so. No Cat. And then let's talk about these Minnesota guys. So James Johnson, Naz Reid, they kind of split the center minutes last time out with no Karl-Anthony Towns. James Johnson played 32 minutes, whereas Naz Reid played 22, I believe. Naz Reid is the more productive guy, but yeah, we'll see what they do with the starting lineup. If James Johnson starts, I think he's probably the safer option because he's going to get more minutes. He's a guy that gets the peripheral stats right. He had 5, 5, and 5 with 3 blocks and 3 steals. Yeah, I think he's a perfectly fine cheap option if he starts. Naz Reid is always viable even when he comes on the bench. I think we probably get around close to 20 minutes. Again, he's a good point per minute guy. So those two cheap options for Minnesota are certainly in play on the slate. Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee. So Dwight's at 4.4. Don't mind him. He has gotten 25 and 30 minutes last couple of games. 30 minutes the last game they needed him to guard Jokic. Memphis does run big. Jonas Valanciunas, Triple J, Brandon Clark. Maybe this is a game where Dwight gets extended a little bit. I think he's okay, but not one of my favorite plays. Again, no Marc Gasol. That's why I like Serge Ibaka a good amount. Other options here, Cantor's always in play for GPP. So just his minutes. 28, 17, 8, 20. It's so hard to predict what he's going to play on a night-to-night basis. Now, we don't have Kemba. Doesn't really affect Cantor necessarily, but that is a high-usage guy out of the offense. And if Cantor gets, if I knew Cantor was going to play, if I knew he was going to play 20 minutes, he would be one of my favorite value plays of the day. There's a chance he could play under 10 minutes, right? So that's a concern there with Cantor. Other options, we do have Plumlee coming back, so maybe Jokic is maybe his minutes go down slightly. Like McGee's pretty cheap at 3.3. The thing is, not going to play huge minutes, but he's a guy that can get you 15 to 20 in about 15 minutes. So he's a viable dart throw. Even a guy like Boucher at 3.1, I guess only to get 9 minutes last time out. I think if Ayton does end up playing, maybe and Ibaka, they don't want to give Ibaka huge minutes. This could be a game where Boucher gets 15 to 20. No, they're just more of a dart throw range though. And I think that's it. Do we have Baines? Oh, Baines is probable. Okay, so we have Kaminsky out. Let me go to Phoenix. So Kaminsky's out. Baines, is Sarge still out? Sarge probable too. Okay, so that does change things for sure for me. I forgot about that both Baines and Sarge were probable. Still no Kaminsky, but if Ayton misses, I would not play Diallo at all. I would look to maybe Baines or Sarge, whoever does end up starting. Now, they're both min price, so this is something to keep an eye on. Baines wasn't playing huge minutes, but if he starts, I think we probably get at least 15 minutes from him at min price. So again, we got to keep an eye on the status of DeAndre Ayton and what they do with their starting lineup there. But let's move on to power forward. Let's see. Already talked about a lot of these guys. Now, the Boston guys stand out a good amount. Minnesota is one of the worst defensive teams. And no Kemba Walker. That is huge usage. A lot of minutes to go around. Tatum's a guy that at under 8K stands out as a really solid player. I like a lot of Boston today. So, yeah, really like Tatum. Don't think I think probably right now get at least one Boston guy in your lineup, maybe two. The way I'm leaning right now for roster construction is probably get a lot of exposure to that Portland-New Orleans game and then a couple Boston guys. I think that's a pretty good way to start your lineup for this Friday slate. Again, the Cleveland Bigs, it's a stay away from me. Aaron Gordon's been playing really well, but his price is coming up 7.3K. Dallas is just like a mediocre spot too, so don't know if I get to him at that price point. Gordon Hayward, again, I like a lot of Boston today. That was, a double overtime game, so don't get super excited about those minutes, but we're probably going to get mid-30s minutes from these wings in a really good matchup. So Tatum, Hayward, definitely viable. But I'll talk about Brown and Smart here in a bit. I think I prefer them just because they're cheaper price tags. So we'll get to both Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart here in a bit. Brandon Ingram at 6.8. That's just too cheap. I don't care if Zion's playing as well. It just doesn't matter. Now, he was dealing with injuries. He missed the last few games of the before the All-Star break. I think he's gonna be good to go. I don't see an injury status. I can confirm that, but 6.8K is really, really cheap for Brandon Ingram. So I like him a good amount in a game that's going to be played at a super fast pace. 235.5 over under, again, a 4-point spread. So I really like Ingram there. Oubre would be a guy I would look to if DeAndre Ayton can't go. That would be some more usage to go around. Let's see, other options here. Melo's a guy I like a good amount with no Damian Lillard. Someone besides CJ is going to have to step it up. Now, look that last game against Memphis. He shot the ball 1 of 15. Still put up 27 points. Now, it did have 15 rebounds, which is more of an outlier. But Carmelo's a guy that's going to shoot the ball a lot more here with no Damian Lillard. Great matchup, too. I like Melo a good amount. Now, my priority is definitely CJ McCollum. But Melo, you can definitely play both together. There's just a lot of usage to go around right now in that Portland offense. Let's see. Other options, MPJ. I'll probably take a wait-and-see approach. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get coming back from injury. RHJ, what if he has 16 minutes? So he's been getting a little bit more run than Boucher. Yeah, I think he's okay value play, but there's probably better options on the slate. That really wraps it up for power forward. So let's move on to small forward. LeBron James at the top, kind of my same analysis as Anthony Davis. I have no issue, really good matchup. My concern is, Memphis back-to-back and at the Lakers. There is a good chance this game could blow out, for sure. Now, if you're confident Grizzlies keep it close, then definitely you can target one of LeBron or Anthony Davis. Let's see, other options here. DeMar DeRozan at 6.8. I know it's a terrible matchup. He missed, the last couple games before the All-Star break. I'm not super excited about it, but 6.8 does feel pretty cheap for DeMar DeRozan. Let's see here. Again, the secondary Dallas pieces with Luka and Porzingis healthy, just to stay away from me. Barton is questionable. We got to keep an eye on that. Like JJ Redick and Josh Hart. Don't know if I get to these guys with Brandon Ingram now back and healthy, so those guys are probably a fade for me. Joe Ingles is always viable as a cheaper option. No Mike Conley. I think we would get consistent minutes from him, about 32, 33 minutes. Not a guy that has huge upside, but I think he's a pretty safe option, a good cash game play there at that price. Trevor Ariza, I don't know if his role is necessarily going to change too much, but again, up-tempo game. We probably get about 35 or so minutes from him. He's definitely viable on the Portland side. And then whoever starts for Portland, whether it be Gary Trent Jr. or Anthony Simons for Damian Lillard, I could see them doing either or. Probably is going to be Simons, but they could always start Gary Trent Jr., move CJ to the point, I guess. Whoever ends up starting for Lillard would be the guy that I have the most interest in. So we got to keep an eye on that starting lineup. I think that does it for small forward. Yeah, so let's move on to shooting guard. Brad Beal at 9.4. The thing with him is just the minutes. He's going to get about 35 or so minutes. He's going to shoot the ball a ton. It's a good matchup. He seems priced about right. So, again, the positives going for him are very, very high usage guy, good matchup, going to shoot the ball a lot. The minutes are pretty secure. It's just the price tag 9.4 feels about right for him. So I can still see him getting upside here, but I don't know if I'm going to go out of my way to play him. Now, Devin Booker at 7.9. This is kind of dependent on Ayton news, because if Ayton plays, that's a big hit to Devin Booker's usage, and it's kind of like when both those guys are healthy, either one or the other goes off. It's very, very frustrating when they're both healthy. It seems like they can't have a good game together, both have a good game. So we got to keep an eye on Ayton's status. If DeAndre Ayton is not available to go, then I would like Devin Booker a lot more. Fred VanVleet at 7.4. I like this price tag a good amount. This game, again, be played at a fast pace. I think I prefer him and Lowry to Siakam just because they're a little bit cheaper. Drew Holiday, I like a good amount. I know Ingram coming back. There's a lot of usage to ground, but there still is. These guys can still get you there in this really, really good matchup. So yeah, I love a lot in that game. Donovan Mitchell, 6.9, is certainly viable. No Mike Conley. He'll play the point a little bit. He's going to get big minutes. Good match against the Spurs. So I think Donovan Mitchell is a pretty solid play here at under 7K. CJ McCollum is by far my favorite play of the day, without a doubt at 6.6. He's going to be the absolute chalk. I don't care. I'm eating the chalk with no Damian Lillard in this matchup. 235.5 over under. I love CJ. My favorite play. You play him and move on. I think it's that simple. Victor Oladipo no longer going to be on a Mets limit, but I just need to see him play better. I don't think I can go to him at 6.4K. SGA at 6.4. That is a pretty cheap price tag. I think he's a viable cash game play at this price point. Again, I would much prefer getting to CJ, though, at a similar price. Sexton's been okay as well. He'll get 35 or so minutes. It's a good matchup. But again, I don't think I can play those guys over CJ McCollum. Now, Jaylen Brown, I like a good amount of 5.9. Again, him and Marcus Smart. They're going to play about 35 or so minutes. This game is Minnesota. Does not play a whole lot of defense. I like Jaylen Brown a lot at this price. Also, really like Marcus Smart. You guys know whenever Kemba Walker is out, I love getting to Marcus Smart. His upside is through the roof when Kemba is out because Marcus Smart runs the point a lot. His assists go up. His scoring goes up. He's more aggressive. I love Smart. I love Jaylen Brown. I'm fine with Jason Tatum. I like Gordon Hayward. I like a lot of Boston today with no Kemba Walker. Again, this game is, what is it at? 229 over under. And it's at Minnesota, so there's a better chance this game stays close. I really like a lot of the Boston guys today. Other options, Malik Beasley at this price point, I think, is certainly in play. 38 minutes at last game with no Karl-Anthony Towns. So it looks like he's going to be like the number 2 in this offense when Cat is out. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell is the top dog. But Beasley at this price point, I know it's a tough spot, but he's been playing really, really well for this Minnesota team. So I have some interest even at 5.4K. Let's see. Other options here. Not a whole lot I'm super excited about in this price range. Kevin Porter Jr. is fine, but his price is coming up. Yeah, there's really not, like, Chalk Wanamaker never goes well. He should get maybe a little extra run, but just much prefer those main guys on the Boston side. Now, Anthony Simons is a guy I have a good amount of interest at 3.5, especially if he starts. The concern with him is he is a little bit scoring dependent, but if he starts, we probably get 25, 30 minutes from him, maybe more. He's 3.5K in a good matchup. So, yeah, we got to keep an eye on the starting lineup for Portland, whether they start Simons, whether they start Gary Trent Jr. for Damian Lillard. Whoever does end up starting, I would have more interest in. All right, let's move on to point guard here. Luka at the top at 10.6, I think makes for an interesting play because Orlando is a pretty solid defensive team. This what's this over under at? 220.5. But 10.6 is really a cheap price tag for him. So I'm a little bit undecided what I want to do with Luka. I like the price a lot. Not super excited about the matchup, but again, under 11K for Luka. That looks like a pretty appealing price tag there. Again, no Damian Lillard is the big news. It's the news that changes the slate because CJ is my favorite play. Really like Whiteside, Carmelo Anthony, Trevor Reeves is viable, Simons, Gary Trent Jr. There's a lot to like here on the Portland side. And the good thing, too, is Portland, they run a pretty tight rotation. Like the starters always usually get over 30 minutes in a close game. So that's what I like to see. They're going to run probably an 8-man rotation, a really fast-paced game. I really like this game, especially on the Portland side. Also like a lot on the New Orleans side. D'Angelo Russell is a guy I like as well at 8.6, and he's going to go pretty low out because of this matchup. Now, if you're a guy that's going to play a lot of Boston, right, if you're going to play more than 2 guys, you might want to run it back with one of these Minnesota guys, whether it be D'Angelo Russell if you can afford him. If not, maybe go to like Malik Beasley, right? So, yeah, D'Angelo Russell more of a tournament play, but I still like his upside there at that price. Kyle Lowry, again, Fred VanVleet, these are guys that are certainly viable. Lowry 7.7, Fred VanVleet 7.4. Really up-tempo game. Both these guys fill up the stat sheet. So I like both those Raptors guards a decent amount. Alfred Payton, this is something we have to monitor. He is currently assessed questionable. If he can't go, we could see Dennis Smith Jr. get some more runs. So, yeah, we got to keep an eye on that. Again, no Kemba Walker news is huge. I like a lot of the Boston guys. Jamal Murray at 7.1 is always in play because he's a guy that does have upside when he's shooting the ball really well. I don't know if I'm going to prioritize him, though. There, Lonzo Ball, 6.9. Again, I just like a lot in this game. So, yeah, there's really not a whole lot of negatives I can say about that New Orleans-Portland game. Let's see. On the cheap end here, there's really not a whole lot I'm super excited about against. I think Simons or Gary Trent, whoever picks at the start there. On the New York side, let me go to New York. If Alfred Payton can't go, I mean, the thing is they have Ntilikina, they have Dennis Smith Jr. I still don't know if I would go to one of those value guys. They could use R.J. Barrett a bit at the point. So even if Alfred Payton can't go, it's probably still a stay away from me. But, yeah, that basically, I think, does it. So let's go team by team really quick again before I get out of here. And again, guys, things can change. I'm making this video Thursday night, so that's why it's very important to check out the live stream. I'll be live streaming 45 minutes before lock on the YouTube channel, so be sure to check out the live stream. But yeah, Cleveland side, not a whole lot I'm super excited about. It is a good matchup, but it's probably a stay away for me. We'll just, I don't know how this rotation is going to work out with those 4 bigs. On the Washington side, we have possibly Thomas Bryant coming back. It's probably a stay away for me too. The only interest I really have there is Brad Beal. He seems priced about right. Dallas and Orlando, I think Doncic is interesting just because of that price point. Not super excited about the matchup. Everything else is a fade. On the Orlando side, I think my favorite play is Vucevic. He's a little bit more contrarian in my opinion, but I think it is still viable. Aaron Gordon's been playing really well, but I don't know if I want to pay $7.3K for him. Everyone else is a pass. Phoenix, Toronto. The big news here is DeAndre Ayton, right? If he can't go, then whoever starts between, Sarge or Baines, we got to keep an eye on that if Ayton's not available. Obviously, Booker get a big boost as well, and Kelly Oubre too. On the Toronto side, I really like Ibaka at this price, especially if DeAndre Ayton is available to play, because I think he's going to play big minutes no matter what. I just really like him at that price point. One of my favorite plays. Also have a good amount of Anderson, Fred VanVleet, and Lowry. Don't mind Siakam either. Don't think I'm going to get to OG, though, or any of those cheap options. The Pacers and New York game is just no one really stands out for me here. Like Sabonis at 9.6 seems a little overpriced, to be honest. Like Brogdon with Oladipo back. Oladipo's too expensive. We have TJ Warren is questionable. I guess that could change some things slightly, but still, like no one really stands out to me on the Pacers side. And the Knicks side, kind of the same thing. Like Randall will probably be my favorite play, but don't know if I'm going to get to him in this slate. Alfred Payton is questionable. If he misses, there'll be a boost with other guards, but still don't know if I would get to them. Yeah, it's probably a pass for me too. Now again, no Marcus Morris. Like guys like Reggie Bullock will get some more run, but he is kind of scoring dependent. That's the issue. I think he's an okay value play. Like I don't know how they're going to use Mo Harkless or I don't know. It's not super excited about the Knicks here. Now we get to Boston. This is one of my favorite teams to target with no Kemba Walker in a really good matchup. I really like Tatum. I really like Hayward. I love Brown. I love Smart. I like a lot of Boston today. I think you play at least one maybe 2 or more, right? I am just super, super heavy on Boston today. Don't mind Tice either. Cantor's always in play for GPPs. I just don't know how many minutes he's going to play. If I knew Enes Kanter was going to play 20 minutes, I would think he'd probably be one of my favorite value plays at that price. Don't think we have to go to the cheap options, though, for Boston. On the Minnesota side, there actually is a good amount to like here with no Towns. D'Angelo Russell's upside is through the roof. I don't think he's going to be that high owned. But kind of like we saw with Trae Young tonight, right? Trae Young was a guy I liked. I just didn't think I could get there for cash games. Now, he had a huge game just because he's basically matchup proof. Kind of the same thing with D'Angelo Russell. It's not a good matchup, but he's going to shoot the ball a ton here for Minnesota. If you can't get to him, though, I'm fine with Beasley, who looks like to be the number 2 in the offense when Cat is out. Also, guys like Hernan Gomez, James Johnson, and Naz Reid are all viable cheap options. All got big run with no Cat. So those cheap options, I like a good amount for the Minnesota side. I don't think I get to like the really cheap guys like McLaughlin, Okogie, or Culver. But let's move on to Denver OKC. On the Denver side, with Barton status up in the air, if he can't go, that'll be a slight boost to everyone else in the lineup. I don't think I get to the cheap options with everyone now basically healthy. I think the only really interest I have is Jokic and Jamal Murray, but more secondary plays for me. On the OKC side, the prices are somewhat appealing, like SGA at 6.4, Schroeder 5.6, Adams at 5.5. I think my favorite play probably would be Adams, just because he'll probably get about 30 or so minutes. I don't think he's going to kill you. Let's see. Last 3 games here is Spurs side. Nothing really stands out to me. I guess DeRozan does seem a little bit too cheap, but I'm not super, super excited about that. On the Utah side, I think Donovan Mitchell under 7K with no Mike Conley stands as a pretty solid play. I think Joe Ingles is always a safe play at 4.7. Clarkson is still viable at that price, but 5.4 feels kind of a lot to pay for him. New Orleans, Portland, this is by far my favorite game. I really like a lot here on the New Orleans side. I know everyone's healthy, but those main 4 guys with Zion, Drew Holiday, Lonzo, and Ingram, I all have a good amount of interest in. On the Portland side, I love CJ. He's my favorite play. I have a good amount of interest in Whiteside. I like Melo. Trevor Reeves is viable. And then whoever starts between Gary Trent Jr. and Anthony Simons, I would have a good amount of interest in as a value option. Last game here, Memphis, LA. Not a whole lot I'm excited about on the Memphis side. If you're going to target LeBron or AD, then you're confident this game stays close. If that's the case, maybe you want to run it back with one of those big 3 from Memphis, whether it be John Morant, JV, or Triple J, but not super excited there in a tough spot. On the Lakers side, kind of the same thing, right? I just a little bit worried about the blowout there with LeBron, AD. You could take a shot at one of the cheap centers with Dwight or JaVale McGee because Memphis does run big. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate if you'd like this video and subscribe if you haven't. Getting really close to 3,000, I think at 2.97 thousand subscribers. So it just takes 2 seconds out of your day to hit that like button. It really, really helps me out. Again, all free content with the YouTube videos, with the live streams, with answering all your guys' questions, trying to answer your guys' questions on Twitter. I'm sorry if I can't get you guys on Twitter, your questions on Twitter sometimes. It's just I have other things going on, so sometimes I'm not available to answer questions on Twitter. But yeah, like I said, I will be live streaming 45 minutes before lock tomorrow, so be sure to check out the live stream. Thanks again, guys. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you all tomorrow.